every chain, broke every chain, broke every chain, broke every chain, yeah. Broke every chain, broke every chain, broke every chain. To hold us down, you broke every chain, 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 yeah. Broke every chain, broke every chain, every chain. To hold us down, you broke every chain, 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 yeah. Broke every chain, broke every chain, every chain. To hold us down, you broke every chain, 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 yeah. Broke every chain, broke every chain, every chain. To hold us down, you broke every chain, 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 yeah. Broke every chain, broke every chain, every to hold us down. You broke every chain, 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 yeah. Broke every chain, broke every chain, every to hold us down. You broke every chain, 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 yeah. Broke every chain, broke every chain, to hold us down. You broke every chain, 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 yeah. Broke every chain, broke every chain, to hold us down. You broke every chain, broke every chain.
I become online. We're gonna start at this point. You don't see this?
No, but where our faces in it.
Apparently, we didn't probably didn't send it in time.
No, but Javon,
The same time we send this, I saw like a couple hours after they sent out the this.
It remains. Lord, I come, I confess, bowing here, I find my rest. Without you, I fall apart. You're the one that guides my heart. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Where sin runs deep, your grace is strong. Grace is found, is where you are. And where you are, Lord, I am free. Holiness is Christ in me. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Teach my soul to rise to you. When temptation comes my way, and when I cannot stand, I'll fall on you. And Jesus, you're my hope and stay. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. You're my one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you.
good evening, everyone.
Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You've been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You've been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, don't deserve. Still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. You've been so, so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. You've been so, so kind to me. And all the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves at 99, and I couldn't turn it. I don't deserve. Still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. In all the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves at 99, and I couldn't turn it. I don't deserve it. Still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh. You were the Word at the beginning, one with God the Lord Most High. Your hidden glory in creation, and now revealed in you, our Christ. What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a beautiful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus. You didn't want heaven without us. So Jesus, you brought heaven down. Death could not hold you. The veil tore before you. You silenced the boast of sin and grave. The heavens are roaring, the praise of your glory. For you are raised to life again. You have no rival, you have no equal. Now and forever, God, you reign. Yours is the kingdom, yours is the glory, yours is the name above all names. What a powerful name it is. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a powerful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. I know my heart. I felt its war within. It lusts and works for power. Its evil knows no end. My life is nothing without you. I need grace, I need mercy, I need forgiveness for you to make me holy. I must surrender, I need Jesus. I know your love. It woos and draws me in. It points me to the cross, where death and life begin. My life is nothing without you. I need grace, I need mercy, I need forgiveness for you to make me holy. I must surrender, I need Jesus.
Hello and good evening. Welcome to another episode of our Sunday Evening Youth Forum. I am your host, Aaron Critchlow.
And I am your hostess, Zani Critchlow.
Yes, and again, we want to welcome you all to our evening forum. Now, of course, the last time that we had the program, we was at Cookridge Seventh-day Adventist Church, but now because of the seriousness of the COVID, we are at the comfort of our homes, right? So we want to recap the last session that we've had, and that was with Miss Sophia Hippolyte, and we did a health presentation on STIs, and it was very informative. A lot of us learned very, very much. So we just want to thank her again for the information, and moving forward this evening, we would be looking at mediation and conflict resolution, how to resolve conflict in our community and the importance of mediation.
I would just like to take this time just to welcome you once again, and also to encourage those online to send out the links on YouTube and also on Zoom. We would also like to encourage you as we go along in the program to send in your questions as we go, and we will try our best to get the best answers for you. And we hope that you have a wonderful sit-in with us and you enjoy our program. I hope it is informative to each and every one of you. And I hope that, I know it is going to be a very impactful program, because we are dealing with conflict resolution. And I mean, we have so many things going on right now, so much conflict around us, that this would be informative and hopefully would help each and every one of us in our lives. So without further ado, please share, and also feel free to comment and ask your questions as we go along. You could also email our church at cocoritesda51@gmail.com. That is cocoritesda51@gmail.com. And you could also contact us at 270-5521.
Right, so I just want to do a little shout out. I'm seeing some people in the chat and on Zoom here that I want to give a shout out to. Akila Philip Salmon, we want to welcome you to our program this evening. Mr. Jamak McCoy, we want to welcome you also. Has been ages, we haven't seen you, bro. Christine Cole, we want to welcome you as well. Miss Carla Watkins Bourne, we want to also welcome you. Mr. Keith Phillip, we want to welcome you, and we hope that this is a very informative program for each of us. Not only in the community should we resolve conflict, but amidst our, wherever we are, whether it be at work or at school for the youths or wherever, resolving conflict is very, very important. And also the importance of mediation, being a mediator. So at this time, we want to introduce the speaker for this evening, and she's no other than Mrs. Beverly Henry Emmanuel, and she is the Executive Director of the Community Mediation Services Division. And she is here to speak to us on resolving conflict and mediation. So without further ado, we will turn the program over to you, Mrs. Beverly. Thank you for being here as well. So we turn the program over to you.
Thank you. Good evening. It's my honor to be here. And thank you, Pastor Henry, for the kind invitation to join this meeting this evening. Is it possible to share the screen? No?
Yes, it's possible. Our tech guy will organize that for you.
Okay, great. Thank you. I mean, it's not.
You can go ahead.
Go ahead. Thank you so much. Okay, so good evening again. And it's certainly a pleasure to be here with you. And in the next 20 minutes or so, I would quickly take you through a couple of things that I thought would be useful this evening. It's good to be in something called a youth forum. I have not been in one of those in many, many years. So thank you for inviting me. So I'm going to talk about conflict this evening, which is what led me to meet your pastor, Pastor St. Hugh, as I like to call him. If I were to ask anybody in this forum if they've ever been in a conflict, and they thought about it and said no, I'd be very surprised. I'd be surprised, I'd be enlightened, I would want to be enlightened to know how they did it. Because conflict is a part of our lives. It's all around us, it's a part of our human condition. And it is so because we compete for many things in life. Some of the causes are up here on the screen. Um, we compete, and sometimes our competition is for resources, especially now that we're all locked down at home. We can't go out. We have the same small space to use. Everybody wants to do something different. So some of us don't give in easily. Some of us give in too easily. We have different beliefs, expectations. We make assumptions about people. We judge each other. We have concerns and issues, and sometimes we don't really articulate them, or we keep them inside, you know. So conflict is a part of our human condition. And when we are confined and we cannot escape from our situations, it becomes even more apparent. And I'm sure you would have heard about some of the things that are happening in our communities with this COVID-19 restriction of movement, and not just in Trinidad, but really all around us, all across the world. Now, how you perceive conflict, and how I perceive conflict, and how we are engaged in conflict, and whether we see that we have been engaged in conflict, all comes down to our conflict style or conflict management style. Now, there are different styles. All of us practice one or two or all of them at different points in our lives. Some people might have a dominant style, but most of us use all of them. So some of us avoid conflict. And that's good because you want some peace. We might avoid it because you're afraid of offending others. We might avoid it because the issue really isn't that important to you, or the hurt that resolving it would cause is not that great, or you just don't want to spend the time trying to resolve the issue. Some of us are very accommodating in that the person with whom we are having the conflict is more important to us than the issue at hand. So we accommodate their needs and we put our needs in the back. And that's not always healthy, because then sometimes you really feel that you're being taken advantage of because you don't want to hurt that other person. You don't say anything. You accommodate conflict sometimes because you want peace in the home, because you think the other person's needs are more important than yours, so that you don't articulate how you really feel. Some of us are competitive in conflict. It's our way or no way. We must do what we want to do. We must have what we want to have, and we must have it now. But sometimes the competitive style is important, especially when a decision has to be made in terms of, like, it might be an emergency or a dangerous situation, and you have to get people to do what you want. But the competitive style of conflict resolution really does not accommodate others very easily. Some of us are great compromisers. So we take a little bit and we give a little bit. And we try to come up with what all of us would, everybody would get something out of the solution. But what that means is that nobody really gets to be satisfied. So that there are always some unmet needs. But what we try to encourage in mediation ultimately is the ultimate style of collaboration, where we try to join the parties in conflict together against the issue. So we're not agreeing on this. It's not working out for us. But if we put our heads together rather than against each other, and we direct our attention and our energies towards the conflict, then we can have it resolved. So we encourage compromising and collaborating in conflict resolution, in mediation. So that's just a quick snapshot of conflict and why we talk about conflict resolution, conflict management, dispute resolution, And why it's important? Because it's unavoidable as human beings, it's part of our human condition, and we just need to understand how we could get good things, because conflict is not necessarily a bad thing. That's how we develop new ways of doing things. If everything went well, then we'll never seek new alternatives, new ways of doing things. Okay, so conflict is important, and it could be very constructive if we know what to do with it. So this is my definition of conflict management. You will not find it in a book anywhere, but as somebody who works in the field and who has had to develop structures for conflict management, I see conflict management as analyzing the environment and issues which give rise to conflict and perpetuate conflict, and applying the necessary resources, practices, and strategies to increase the likelihood that the solutions developed would meet some, if not all, of the needs of all of the affected parties in ways that promote peace, harmony, wholeness, and healthy relationships. So if we speak about conflict management, there are some things we need to talk about. And this is something you would find all over in textbooks, online. It's called a dispute resolution continuum. And I'm introducing this here not because I want to get any technical or anything, but I want to place the context, place mediation in a context. Mediation is one of what we call alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, ADR. Okay, there are others. I am sure you've all heard about negotiation. And that's when Jane and John have a dispute, they have differences, they have difficulties, and they try to, hello? And they try to come together to talk about the issue and resolve it between themselves. Then we have conciliation, and that is something you hear a lot in the industrial relations setting. And conciliation introduces a third party, similar to mediation, where somebody who has no stake, nothing to lose in how the dispute is resolved, brings the disputing parties together and help them to come up with solutions. The difference between conciliation and mediation, though, is that in conciliation, the third party can put their opinion on the table. They could say what they think should happen. They could give an opinion on something. They could offer a solution. Okay. Also, the results of conciliation may be tendered in courts in some jurisdictions. Mediation, what we're here to speak about, also uses a third party to bring the parties together, to have those difficult conversations that people have been trying to have. So people at home, you have a difference in the family about how to bring up the children, what children need to do. You have a difference in how to spend the limited money that we now have because people have lost their jobs because of the pandemic and the closure of business. And you have been trying to have these difficult conversations together and it's just not working. What mediation does is it brings the parties together with a third party who really has no stake again in how the matter is resolved. And that party helps through questioning, through encouraging reason and respectful dialogue, helps the parties to generate solutions, to evaluate those solutions, and to select those solutions that would work best. But the mediator, unlike the conciliator, is not allowed to offer opinions and solutions, but only to question and to engage in discussion and facilitation that will allow the parties to do those things for themselves. So a big part of mediation is what we call self-determination, in that the parties come up with their solutions. Then we move on to arbitration, and that's where you have like a subject matter expert, and that is a lot in business things where you would have construction arbitration and you have lots of money on the table at stake. the arbitrator makes a decision and that decision could be appealed, but really the parties still have some say and some control of the process, not as much as in mediation where the process really is owned by the parties. And then of course we have the courts, okay, where really when you get to court, if you are in a dispute with someone, you really, a lot of times people say, I want to have my day in court, I have something to say. But here's what, if you've ever been in a court matter, you would notice that the aggrieved parties hardly have anything to say. And when they do say anything, it's because they were asked a direct question and that's the only thing they can answer. Really, you would see the attorneys duking it out on behalf of their clients, and then you have a judge, a jury, or a magistrate who makes the decision. So adjudication really cuts out the individuals with the conflict from the solution. So that was a quick, very quick lesson in alternative dispute resolution. So now I go to mediation. And I like to, this is my definition again, a facilitated collaborative conversation. And I say facilitated because remember I was saying the third party really facilitates the discussion, the conversation. It's collaborative. Remember, I spoke about the conflict management styles. So it really tries to encourage the parties to join together despite their differences, to come together against the problem. So it's us against the problem. So it's a facilitated collaborative conversation between or among persons in dispute. The conversation is facilitated by a third party who has no stake or interest in the outcome of the dispute, while the participation of the parties is voluntary. Now, it's very important to remember that a mediator has no stake. So you have nothing to gain in how the parties decide they're going to resolve their problem. The solutions arrived at are generated, evaluated, and decided upon by the parties to the dispute. So they must come to the table voluntarily. They must be willing to do it. And the solutions must be their solutions. It can't be the mediator telling them, I think it should do this, and don't bother with her on that, and things like that. It's really the parties. So just this aside just tells you that mediation really works. It's not for the faint-hearted. Some people saying that, and I feel that Pastor Henry got to realize that when he was doing his training, that mediation is a soft thing for mamby-pamby people who have the guts to go to court and things like that, but it's not. You have to be tough and willing to stick it out, willing to talk about it and negotiate and go through this thing until something gives. So you have control over the process. Whereas if you go to court, you have less control, very little control. The control you have really is the attorney that you select when you go to court. In mediation, it's less formal. Especially community mediation, we try to do things in a way that people feel comfortable. It's very important, ambience and room and stuff, very important to us to have some snacks and stuff for people. And we meet with you when you are available. If you could come out on a Saturday, that's when we do it. If you could come out on a Sunday, we try not to, but we do it. If you need to come in the evening after work, we do that too. So it's less formal. Of course, you have to have your jacket and tie and dress good to go to court. In mediation, it's interest-based. In the court, it's the law, what the law says. And what I mean by interest-based is this. Two people might have a dispute over, let's say, a house. A brother and sister live in a house. The house is really the family house, right? It was handed down or it belonged to the parents. The parents have moved away or they've passed on. And brother and sister are living in this house. But mom and dad might have intended for the brother to have the house. The sister has nowhere to live. She is now unemployed because of this whole COVID thing. The brother could very easily say to her, you have to leave this house. And if we were talking strictly law, he has the right to do that. Okay, and that is probably would be the outcome if it went to court. Cases like this is what the court sends very often to community mediation, because it's in the interest of the family to find a good solution to this so that everybody benefits. The sister needs a place to live. The brother owns the house by right. It was bequeathed to him. There may be things that the brother needs from the sister, because he might be still working. He and his wife are still working, but they need someone to look after the children. Perhaps the sister could help with that. Mediation helps people to look at what is the best outcome so that the sister does not end up on the street. She contributes, not financially, but in kind, to the upkeep of the home, and everybody wins. So we have what we call in mediation a win-win situation, because the interest that the brother probably had was that he now supports his sister who is not contributing financially, and he still has to pay a babysitter. The interest that the sister has is that she needs somewhere to live and she really has no money. So really mediation helps people to look at what are you interested in getting out of this conflict rather than what is the law concerning this conflict. Mediation is low cost, really low cost. Unless you decide to, especially in community mediation, it's free to the users. Of course, the bills of community mediation are met by the Treasury, but for the user, it's free. And we offer mediation as well as social work case management. Also, mediation is confidential in that whatever is said in the room stays in the room. The only thing that goes out of the room, if it's a court-referred matter, is what people have agreed. Anything that is said by parties to the mediation is shredded. Any notes that are taken, they're shredded after. And confidentiality really is determined whether you leave the room and go and tell people what he said or she said. The mediator is bound by law to keep your confidence. Also, unless you make a threat against somebody's life or limb or property, the mediator cannot be called to give evidence in the court, and the mediator cannot report to anyone. Of course, if you do any of those things, make a threat, and the threat is deemed as credible, then the mediator is bound by law to report it to the relevant parties. Okay? It is voluntary. If you are engaged in mediation, it's because you want to do mediation. Even if the court should send you, you can come and say, I am not interested in this. And that's okay. Okay. If somebody takes you to court or you're charged with an offense, you have to go. There is no leaving that out. In terms of confidentiality, if you've ever been in a courtroom, you know that it's you and anybody from the public who wants to come and sit in the gallery and everybody hearing your business. Okay. In mediation, the decisions are made by you, the parties. In the courtroom, it's made by the judge, the jury, or the magistrate. In mediation, all parties benefit from the outcome. Some may benefit more than others because somebody decided to give up. But you see that again, I shouldn't even say that because that might be my perception of the settlement, because I remember a mediator saying to me, I can't understand why she would agree to that. And when to those things, and when I asked her why she would agree to those things, she said, because that is what would give me peace. So all parties benefit. The peace there was more important than the material things. In the courtroom, somebody wins and somebody loses. So in a nutshell, those are some of the advantages of mediation over adjudication. Now, I move swiftly into community mediation program, which is my responsibility and which is the reason that I guess I'm here this evening in this forum, because it is what brought me to meet your fantastic pastor. At community mediation, when the cabinet approved for the implementation of community mediation in Trinidad, there were two things that we were required to do. We were required to provide fora for mediation, for conflicts, for the resolution of conflicts which existed. And we do that through mediation and social work case management. And then we were also required to develop and execute programs, behavior change programs, and programs that would lead to a healthier approach to conflict management and conflict resolution. And that is where we have peer mediation, we have peer support groups, which are family, which are parental support groups and men support group. We have what we recently introduced, a mediation mobile unit. It was introduced about 2 years ago. And then we had COVID, so we couldn't be going out into communities as we used to. Because what that does, we have 2 coach buses outfitted as centers, and they go to communities without community mediation centers, and we take our services to those communities. We have what we call the Community Empowerment Program, and that is where we go into communities and we do things like anger management, conflict de-escalation, effective communication, emotional intelligence, and those sorts of things to help people, again, change their approach to conflict and difficult circumstances. And because we have COVID and we can't go into communities, like all our other our services, we are taking it online. So this year, in July and August, our community empowerment programs would be virtual, so look out for it. We will let you know when it's coming. We have, of course, our public education, sensitization, and outreach efforts. And this is one where we attend events like this, or we go into communities. We publish things every week on Facebook and things like that. And these are things that deal with conflict resolution, difficult circumstances, self-esteem, personal growth and development. We have co-parenting classes, which teaches parents of children or guardians who are no longer together, romantically involved, but they're having difficulties in bringing up their children together because of the acrimony between them. We have co-parenting classes where we take you through a number of a syllabus actually, to help you to learn, help the parents to learn how to bring up their children together despite their own differences. And then we have the Community Inclusive Mediation Project, where this is what would have introduced me to Pastor Henry and 24 other fantastic citizens. And the Community Inclusive Mediation Project is a project that really was introduced. We were approached by the UN and asked to lead a project or to develop a project which will include the citizenry in peace building in their communities. So we went into communities and we looked for people through their organizations to be trained as mediators and to go back into their communities and work with their communities and educate their communities about conflict resolution, about mediation, and to actually provide the service of mediation. And where they cannot manage the case, refer it to us at community mediation. So the Community Inclusive Mediation Project is one that is a citizen inclusive approach to peace building that is geared to reducing violent conflict by dealing with conflict in communities before they become entrenched and they escalate. You know, a little thing happens, your mangoes falling in my yard all the time and dirtying up the place. I have a set of flies. I talked to you so many times about it. You wouldn't do anything about it. I sitting down and I grumbling every day because you're supposed to be my good neighbor, but you're not really being a good neighbor right now. So we have a little cold war going on, right? I trim off the branches from the tree and I fling them back over by you. And that escalates. Then we hear about a chopping incident that took place in Carenage because of a mango tree. But it was really because this conflict remained unattended for so long, it grew. Things mushroomed and grew and grew and grew until it exploded one day. Tempers flared, and then you know when one thing wrong, then you find all kinds of different things happening. People, you're looking for a cause for confusion. All right. So this project is intended to intervene in those kinds of things before they become entrenched and harden and escalate into aggression. And I want you to, when you listen to some of the kinds of things that you'll hear on the news and you read in the papers, unless it's gang related, and you hear about people being shot and chopped and stabbed, it's always because some conflict escalated into aggression. And it's not because people set out to kill somebody, but people boiled over, tempers boiled over, and people harmed each other. So through this project, what we actually have in community mediation is a lengthening and reaching into communities. Our arms are now lengthened and strengthened and allow us to reach further into communities, because people like Pastor Henry and the other folks in there are at least 7 other people in Carenage are able to intervene in communities and refer matters or mediate the matters with our support before they become entrenched. Um, and of course, by having those representatives, you also now have access to the resources of community mediation. And what we hope is to, through interventions like the Community Inclusive Mediation Project, we have more social cohesions in communities, and the encouragement of the people in the communities to really take hold of what's going on in your community, because that's the place you live and you want it to be the best place possible. Okay, so I'll just tell you quickly what we did to come up with the people. We surveyed, we chose communities based on some of the demographics and some of the social issues affecting the communities. We went into communities and did a survey. In Carenage, I think we did approximately 100. We executed about 100 survey questionnaires asking people about the conflicts in the communities, about the organizations they would go to if they needed help, about the type of person they would look to for help. And here's what: your church was perhaps the most looked to organization, and people actually named your organization. So congratulations. It means that you are actually working in your community and making a difference in your community. And we went to those organizations and we asked them to nominate people who work in the communities. In some communities, they actually named in Canada, some people were actually named as Miss this or Miss that we would go to if we needed help with an issue. So the Community Inclusive Mediation Project tried to identify people in the community with the qualities that were important to the people in the community as their representative. Some of the things that the survey revealed that you said were important to you: you wanted people with status and reputation. You wanted them to have some academic qualifications. You wanted confidentiality. You wanted people to be neutral and unbiased. You wanted them to have personal relationships with the people in the community, to be good speakers, to be able to articulate themselves, to have a religious background. Age was important, but not as important as other things. To be trustworthy and to have life experience. You know, you needed somebody who know what they're talking about, not because they read it in a book, but because they actually experienced it. But if you look at the higher peaks, the things that were most important to people were confidentiality. They needed to be neutral and unbiased. They needed to be able to communicate properly, and they had to be trustworthy and have some life experience. And you wanted that from both John Public, who you would go to if you had a problem, and those were also the qualities you would want to have if somebody were to mediate your issues. And that was how we met Pastor and the other persons from Carenage. So once we identified the people, they were trained in mediation skills. They had a rigorous 1 week training in that they had to leave their homes for a week and go through some intense training. They even during the lockdown last year, they were committed and they were able to complete their mentorship and coaching exercises with our trainers. And we have coming up, and it will have to take place again during this lockdown period, some what we call advanced community skills training, where we're going to be doing some courses with them in community building, emotional intelligence, building awareness, and helping them to understand issues like gender, human rights, justice, and youth issues. We're going to be dealing with anger management and confidentiality. And of course, referrals to the Community Mediation Center for family-related matters and other very complex matters that their training and experience as mediators will not allow them to handle just yet. And of course, community mediation remains committed, and the Ministry of Sport and Youth and Community Development remains committed to supporting the community, the citizen mediators, as they work with the communities. Now, what's the significance of this? Strengthening of the capacity of community level mediation and promoting a culture of peace in communities by including youth as citizenry. Expanding community-based peace building structures, in that if you allow this to work as citizens of Carenage, then you would have within Carenage the ability to handle a lot of the issues that come up in your families and community. And this is what we want people to be able to do. I always say it at the office, if people could resolve their issues without even coming to us, I would be really happy. I will be out of a job, but I'll be happy. And we want citizens to feel more empowered to resolve conflicts in their personal lives and in their communities. So we need citizen participation. We need you to feel empowered enough that if you see something going on in your family or with your neighbors, you could step in. You could say to people, hold up, this is not how it works. We have a structure here. We have community mediators. We have citizen mediators among us. Let us talk about this and come up with a solution that builds rather than destroys. Okay, and we want you to work with your communities and your families to reduce incidents of escalated conflicts and conflicts becoming entrenched in their families and communities. And that's the importance of this project. And I want to say, and I want to end by saying that this evening was, this evening, Sunday evenings is a special time for me. I spend time with my daughter. Okay, she lives abroad. She's an adult. She lives abroad, and Sunday evenings is a special time. But because citizenry, citizen empowerment, peace building is so important to me, and because I know that each one of you who is listening has the capacity, the potential, and really the deep yearning to make an impact in your community, I sent her a message and I told her we'll speak after 8 today. We'll spend that time together because this is important. So I want to leave you with it, with the idea that you have the resources in your community. You have 7 or 8 persons who have been trained as citizen mediators. They're competent. I saw the passion. And I mean, I was really blown away by your team from Carenage, especially, and their passion and how they were raring to go. Even before we were done the formal training, they had all their ideas on how they were going to do things. Even during last year, in the uncertainty of the pandemic, they wanted to do things. So the drive and the passion and is there. So I want you to encourage your community of Carenage to utilize these fine folks because they're really committed. You chose well. You chose some really excellent citizen mediators. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Emmanuel. We thank you for all that you have shared with us. It truly was impactful. I mean, just the thought of being a mediator on the whole is something that is, you know, very it's mind-boggling to think about too. I don't know if you could be a mediator. I know with myself, I would get invested and, you know, emotional with the person as well. So I feel I commend your expertise, and thank you for such an informative program. I mean, I have so many questions already, and I would leave it for later on for that segment. But once again, we are grateful for all that you have shared, and we look forward to more. Also, I would like to specially say thank you to our viewers for staying with us thus far. And I hope that you too are being well informed, and, you know, you could take away good information on how to even resolve issues in your home, in your community, and, you know, really grow in that light. Because I feel as though a lot of the issues that we have in our communities or even at home is one that is not forgiving on, you know, listening to your partner or listening to whoever is having an issue, or, you know, and actually working to understand the issues and come to a mature and a better resolve than we do right now as well. I'd like to send a shout out to our viewers online on YouTube. We have persons all the way from Barbados. We'd like to thank you for joining us this evening. I think it's Dellison and his family.
From Barbados.
All the way from Barbados.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Yes. Also, Sister Shirley Belforn, Sister Monroe is here with us. We'd like to thank you for joining us this evening.
Sister Ambrose, we want to thank you all for joining. Some of you may have come on a bit late, but we know that this here program is being recorded, so you can always go back and take a look. You know, we want to thank Sister Carol Lewis. You know, just a little shout out, Brother Akil Enns. I want to thank you, bro, for coming and joining us. And as we go forward, we will be presenting now a skit for you on mediation, a demonstration, right? And I will give a little preview of what the scenario is, right? So Keith is parked. Keith parked his car in front of the shop and turned in for the night. Kizzy parked her car next to Keith's car and turned in for the night. In the morning, Keith observed a scrape along the side of his car and paint the color of Kizzy's car on his car. He immediately called out Kizzy, accusing her of scraping his car and not claiming responsibility. An argument ensued. Village Council sent them for mediation. So let's take a look at this skit here.
Okay. So good night, everyone, the wider viewing audience. I will be the mediator for this demonstration this afternoon. My name is Christine Cole. I am a mediator, a certified mediator with the Mediation Board. So I'll be doing the demonstration for you this afternoon. So I'll get right into it. So parties, good afternoon. Mrs. Montague and Mr. Monroe. Mr. Phillip, good afternoon. So welcome to our mediation session this afternoon. How are you both?
Good. Have a good day.
I'm okay. Let me put on the screen. Oh, yeah, change the screen. Okay, so great. So I want to thank you all for choosing mediation, for agreeing to choose mediation to resolve your conflict that you've had recently. Okay, I'm so happy that you have chosen mediation as to not let this misunderstanding between both of you get out of hand. So before we go any further, my name, as I said, is Christine Cole, and I'll be comfortable with you all calling me Miss Cole. How would you like to be addressed this afternoon in the session?
You can call
How
me
would you
Keith.
like? Keith, that's fine, and
You can call me Kizzy.
Kissy. All right, great. So it's important that we establish how we want to be addressed so we do not disrespect each other going forward and say he say and she say and he and all that. So we know which names we're going to be using. All right. So first of all, I want to go through some guidelines as to how this session would be conducted this afternoon. If you have any questions going forward or you do not understand anything, please let me know. And I'll be happy to stop and answer your questions or your concerns. This session this evening is about you, and my responsibility is to help you resolve it as far as possible, okay? You would have an opportunity this evening to say all that has affected you, to give your side of the story as it will, to bring all the issues to the table so we can have a good and frank discussion, ventilate all the issues so that resolution can be arrived at. The more we put on the table, the more information we put on the table is the better decision that we can come to in making a resolution that will, both of you will be able to live with. I know both of you are from the same community, so there may be some history going back and all that. So please feel free. I say here that one of the hallmarks of mediation is confidentiality. And I want to talk a little bit about that carefully to you. So the session this evening, as all mediation sessions, is governed by one of the principles of confidentiality. And what do I mean by confidentiality? It means that everything that we say here, me, you, Kizzy, you, Keith, will remain confidential. It stays here. Okay? So Keith, if you decide to take it out into the community, that will be a breach of confidentiality. Same, Kizzy. So we're asking you to commit to one of the principles of this thing, as we discussed earlier on in the pre-conciliation meeting. Okay? So only things that are said here will remain here. I am bound by the principle of confidentiality as a mediator. And so anything that you all tell me, I have to keep confidential. The only thing that this doesn't cover, again, is if I hear any threats that could be construed as criminal, you threatening each other or somebody else, I would be bound to take it to the relevant authority. But I'm sure that's not the case here. Okay? So that would be the only thing that would break the confidentiality of the session. Now, my role here is to help you to untangle the issues, as it will, to talk about them. Because sometimes a third party can facilitate that. Okay? It's not to judge you. It's not to say who's right or wrong. It's not to come up with answers for you. I do believe that you all know the ones involved in the situation and you have the right answers. You all can go through the issues with my help and come up with a solution that both of you can live with. So my role here is not to come up with any decision for you. I will not be judging you. Whatever you say, you have the freedom to say. And you will have time to say all that you need to say in this session. Okay? Are there any questions so far?
None for me.
I'm just concerned about Ms. Kizzy, you know, because she does talk plenty. So I'm concerned that she will take this thing out.
So you have a concern about that. And sometimes that's a valid concern. Yes. And thank you, Keith, for raising it. But I would have met with both of you separately, and both of you would have agreed to sign remember we discussed this at the pre-conciliation meeting about this process. So we, many times in life, we have to trust each other that they would live up to the standards. So I would ask you to give it a try. I do hear your concern, but Kizzy has told us that she's bound by the confidence. She's told me that she would agree to the confidentiality. Is that okay with you, Keith?
Okay.
More comfortable now?
Well, I accept what you say, so I will go with that.
Thank you. Thank you for trusting me, and thank you for trusting the process. Great, as we move along. All right, so as I said, you have uninterrupted time. So we give you time to tell your story. So a couple other things I wanna talk about here is that if at any point in time you wanna take a break or anything for you feel a little overwhelmed or anything, please just let me know and we'd stop for a while, okay? Likewise, if you wanna talk to me one-on-one, feel free and just let me know and I can facilitate that. So I would have a talk with both of you. If at any point in time you feel that this whole process of mediation, we spoke about that, it is voluntary. You have agreed to come here voluntarily to resolve the issue because we spoke about that. But if you feel at any time it becomes overwhelming and it's not working out for you, just let me know and we can talk it through. And if you still feel the same way, then we can end it. I respect you on that. You would not be judged in any way. Either you, Keith, or Kissy, you will not be judged at all. So please feel free to let me know, but we can talk about it because I do. All right. So once we have the flow of the process, mediation is a very fluid and informal process. So we will have one person talking at a time. And it's very important that one person speak at a time because a lot of the time conflict comes because we do not listen previously. So this is an opportunity where we have to listen to each other, to listen carefully. And certainly I want to listen because if I'm to help you at any point, I have to hear exactly what you're saying. So, and I can only listen to one person at a time. So I'd ask you to speak one at a time. Now I know the issues are contentious and they have been bothering you. So there might be somebody saying something, because you might be saying something that Philip, Keith, you do not agree with. So just write it down on the piece of paper that you've been provided with. Okay? Because when your time comes to speak, I do not want you to forget it, and I'm sure you wouldn't want to forget it. But so just briefly jot it down because it's important that you listen to the other person too. And in listening, you will probably hear things that you do not generally agree with. And that's why we're here. But I ask you to listen to get a better understanding of the whole situation, as I would be listening to. Are there any questions at this time? And anything? All right. So again, my role here is neutral. I am not uninvolved in that. Involved in that, I want to help you, and I want to will try my best to help you. But I'm not going to be taking any sides. Okay, I am a neutral person in this, and I would try as best as possible to help both of you the same way because this is your conflict, and my interest here is that you can resolve it yourself. Okay, so once we have reached an agreement, coming out to the end, the agreement will be reduced to writing, as we discussed. It'll be drawn up in very simple language, and you'll be asked to reread it and read it carefully. If you would want to take it to somebody else you would want to verify it with, you feel free that you would have that opportunity. But it'll be very simple between both of you. And you can read it until if it's anything you do not agree with, we will rework it until you are able to, and then you sign it. Okay? And you will be bound by that, by what you have agreed to. Any questions? Okay, so if at any point in time you want to, again, take a bio break or anything, please let me know. So we've agreed to how we're going to call each other. And I encourage you at this point, you have a good opportunity in resolving this to put everything on the table, to say all that you need to say. Okay, so if there are no further questions, or anybody want anything clarified further, I think we're ready to start. Yes? So, who would like to go first?
I'd like to go first.
Keith, you'd like to go first. Is that okay with you, Kissy?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, so Keith, from your perspective, and notice I'm saying from your perspective, because, you know, there's obviously the two sides of the story, and we hear the other side and what, but I'm really interested in hearing from your perspective, what are the circumstances that led up to you for the from the incident that led us to being here today.
Okay. I want to start by saying I love my car. I have a nice car. It's a B14 car, rims nice, the color is metallic. Everybody that's talking about my car. So I love my car. And I just spend money on my car. Now, usually, I park my car just next to the shop. Now, everybody who lives on that street have to park on the same side of the road. It's a narrow road. And I park my car right by the shop. Now, Kizzy have a car. And anyway, I find she does show off. Because she have a car, they say that BMW, like she does show off with the car. Everybody on the road, they say, she can't drive. Because she does go from side to side, they just call her zigzag. Nevertheless, when I get up in the morning and I see my car, I see that big scrape on baby. And I just call the car baby because my wife gave the car her name. Because I love the car, so she said, like a baby. I see baby, it have big scrape on baby. But one time, I know it's Kizzy because I know she can't drive. And then when I look at the car, I see this light kind of baby blue color on the scrape. I know that it's Kizzy car. So now I said, well, let me go and look for Kizzy. So I look waiting for Kizzy early in the morning, but I find her as a big woman. She said, come and tell me. She scraped my car. And then we could work on something. So early in the morning, I get up looking for Kizzy. When I looking for Kizzy gone already. Now that happened Tuesday night. Well, you know, I'm looking out for Kizzy. So Wednesday, I'm looking. I never see her. Thursday, I didn't see her. The next time I see Kizzy was Friday morning. Driving up in a BMW, and the thing again shiny like a paint over. So I say, what? You box the car, you go and paint it over. You come back 3 days after. Well, you know, Bacchanal start. So with all the Bacchanal people, everybody get involved. And they say before this thing turn into a big thing and somebody get damaged, let's go to mediation. So we here because this lady bounced my car. She paint over her car. And now she wants to tell me she don't know nothing about that. And I can't take that because I love baby. My wife get a car a name. I just take care of my car. Everybody loves that car. And she scrape up my car and it's hurting me. And that is why we're here.
Okay. So, Keith, thank you very much for sharing that. Okay, so I'm hearing your passion for your car. You even said that you love your car. That's it. Call it baby, you said? You love your baby, right? Okay, so so you described to me what happened with the car that you since Tuesday morning when you woke up, you noticed the scratch on your car.
And all by the side, all going on by the side, by the door, the front door, the back door. And I see the blue color on the side of the car. Same color with Kizzy car.
Right.
Same color.
So, right. And you described to us you parked the car on Monday night and it was in good condition. On Tuesday morning when you get up, you described us it's a narrow street.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday, right? So it's Tuesday night you parked the car. So Wednesday, right? Yeah. So Wednesday, Thursday. So by the time you're looking out for Kizzy, as you said, you didn't see her Wednesday or Thursday, and Friday was the first time you saw her since that happened. So you didn't have a chance to speak with her during that time at all. Like,
when I picked up Friday, when she come.
All right.
And when it started.
And Friday so I imagine from what you're saying, by the time Friday morning you had spoken, you saw her on Friday, you would have had 2 days of having this, waiting to look for her. And so you would have been quite agitated.
Yeah, my pressure went up,
Your pressure went up and all.
Pressure went up.
Yeah. And the confrontation took place on the Friday morning, and it escalated
Yeah.
into quite a brawl, as you said.
Yeah, it's a big brother.
All right. I just want to ask you one thing before we move on, Keith. When you noticed the scrape in your car initially, on the side, did you check his car immediately, or was it parked behind you, or anything like that? Where was it parked?
Well, Kizzy does park higher up the road, right? Because Kizzy live in a higher up the road than me, right?
Okay.
I park a little lower, and she park higher up the road. So when I saw this scratch, immediately I go and look for Kizzy car. But like she get up and gone early or something, or I don't know, she was trying to run away or something. I didn't see her.
Okay, so you didn't see her if her car was scraped at all.
No.
All right, thank you so much for giving me your side of the story so far. I'm sure there'll be other things when we come back to you in a little bit. All right, so let's listen to let me hear what Kizzy has to say now from her perspective, and we begin to
Right. I heard all what Keith. I heard all what Keith said. Right.
All right. So Kizzy,
And-
before you start, I want to hear from your perspective what has happened
Yes.
from before and after. Okay. So
Wow. Would you believe? I listening to Keith here, and I feeling hurt for Keith because he know I love my BMW. I wouldn't want to destroy my BMW on your B14.
So there was no
Keith.
pot in your because you have a BMW.
Come on, Keith.
So you know it.
What gosh?
And I
Your
know,
B14.
because you don't care about my car.
Boy.
I love my car.
And you know what?
You
Keith,
don't care about baby.
And you know what?
Keith, before you go ahead, Kizzy.
Mhm.
Keith, as I said, I know the situation is really very close to your heart, and as you said, is hurting you, Keith. But really, it's really important that I listen uninterrupted to Kizzy at this time, just as I did to you.
Mocking me because you have a BMW.
All right. So so let's listen to her now. I know you have things to say, but you'll get a chance to see it. Okay? Just
Keith,
for a little while. Thank you.
I was not even home for the week.
Kizzy,
I wasn't home for this week.
Kizzy, at this point,
Yes.
point, could you address me?
Yes,
Tell me what
Miss
happened.
Cole.
Yeah.
Miss Cole. I was not home for this week, for that week. But you know, when Keith saw me Friday, the way how Keith approached me, Keith like he wanted to fight with me. He wanted to fight with me. He wanted to choke me. And he told me, why do baby? Where you do baby, girl? Where you do baby? Where you do baby? I will fight with you because you have a BMW. You feel better than everybody. And I say, but what going on with Keith? What I do your baby? What I do your baby? He said, I scrape up my baby. I scrape up his baby and I went and paint my car after. And I want to know, I know Keith long time, I know this man long time, but it looked like Keith he jealous me. Keith is a jealous neighbor. I was thinking, no much thing I want to do. I want to leave this community because of Keith. Because of this neighbor of mine, because of Keith, boy. Keith, you see me scrape your car? Miss Cole, this man is scrape his car, Miss Cole, you ain't see me scrape his car. Keith have a beef with me since I small.
Okay, so tell me something. Okay, so so what you're telling me, so you said the first time you're hearing, from what I'm understanding, what you're saying is that Friday morning when you saw Keith, that was the first time you're hearing about the scrape in his car?
That's the first time I was not home. That's the first time I hearing about the scrape on baby, right? And when he accused me of scraping baby, it's the way how he come to me, He didn't come to me reasoning and showing me, He come to me accusing me, pointing fingers like he wanted to fight with me. And then he told me, because I have a BMW, I feel like better than everybody. And all the neighbors watching at me like this. Like if I have more money than people, you know, he hurt my heart. And then I see police in front of my door.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about what happened on that Friday morning. What
Friday morning,
so
I
when
just
he approached you, when he came up to your house, was it in front of your house? So
he came calling Kizzy, because he's stating that he didn't see me since Wednesday. In fact, since Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then he see me Friday. So he asked him where I was all the time. Because all this time he was waiting for me to tell me about the scrape on his car. And I said, but I was not home. I lent my car to my son, right? I told my son to take the car to get painted by his uncle Corey. Oh my gosh. So he got the car painted. I was not home. Came and he picked me up Friday. In fact, Thursday night and Friday, I saw Keith, but he came to me. He came with rage. He came with like, you know, vexation. He was so angry with me for baby. I didn't even know what he talking about. He started to talk about a scratch. He didn't come reasoning. He come fighting. I didn't like that. He come fighting. He come angry. And you know, I'm a big woman. I like to reason. I didn't expect that from Keith. Since I know Keith, like Keith had a problem with me, and I didn't believe that he have a problem with me until that day. Because if you hear things he told me, because he heard, you know, he think I scrape baby. And when he saw my BMW painted, it grieved him and hurt him more. I didn't like that. I really feel hurt. Keith, I didn't expect that from you. Miss Cole, I don't know, but he hurt my boy.
okay, so I'm hearing what you're saying, Kizzy, and that you were taken by surprise at what you're saying. Keith accused you Friday morning of scraping his car, and it's not so much the accusation, but the way it was done, without you know, accusing you, and it escalated so far, and you know, given the history, you're living in the same neighborhood all these years, that it took you by surprise, and it you know, you are quite upset up to this time. Tell me something. I want to get a little more information for clarification, because some things I'm not clear at what you're saying. Okay, so you said that you were not home for the week, so your car was not. You didn't drive up that area. When did did you send your car to paint, as you said?
I gave my son the car Monday because I had an engagement in Tobago. So I told my son, take it to his uncle. In fact, his godfather is his uncle, to go and paint, right? That's Corey. And I don't know, well, Thursday night he came and picked me up in the airport. And Friday I heard Keith talking, but my car was painted Thursday. It was painted. He came and picked me up in the airport because he was to take it to Corey to get it painted. Right?
So what you're saying, from Monday you went to Tobago and you gave your son the car from Monday to take to his uncle to paint. So he was supposed to drop it by his uncle, or is his uncle or your uncle?
No, that's his godfather. His godfather is his uncle.
All right. So he was supposed to drop it by his.
No, I leave him at the car Monday. So he might have taken it on Tuesday, right? Or Wednesday. I don't know when he took it in, but I was in Tobago, and Thursday night he picked me up in the airport. Friday, Keith came at my home, shouting out Kizzy, and the manners, you know, it's just the way he called him, man, and I accused him, man. When I came out, I wanted to know what's going on, because I know it's COVID, but he wanted to fight with me for baby.
Right. Okay.
Keith,
so as far as you know, just a minute, Pete, just a minute. Just want to finish up with Kizzy a little bit. So Kizzy, as far as you, what you know, you went to Tobago on Monday and you handed over the car to Corey to take to his uncle to get painted.
I gave it to my son. and
And
give my car to
right.
my son to take it to
Right.
his godfather, which is his uncle.
And you were in Tobago for the rest of the week. And the next time you came back in the street was on Friday morning, and Keith.
No, I came back Thursday night, and
Well, right,
Friday
and
morning, Keith accused me.
Friday morning, you see. All right, so we have a timeline. So as far as what you're saying, that you don't know anything about your car scraping the other car. So let me talk to Keith a little bit now, because there were some things he wanted to say, but I want to come back to you to get a little more information. So Keith,
Yes.
I see you have a burning question. So let me hear what you have to say now.
Look what I am seeing, right? My car get bounced Tuesday night. The same color on my car is the color of Kizzy BMW, right? Mysteriously, she's saying she was in Tobago and disappeared for 4 days. And then it come back paint up real nice and looking good. And she don't know nothing about that. Well, the old man who live next to the shopping behind there, he told me sometimes he couldn't sleep, and he really see this car bounce my car, but he didn't want to say nothing. When he hear me quarreling, and when he hear the thing getting out of hand Friday, he come and say, Mr. Keith, I really hear when that happened, because I couldn't sleep, and I'm looking out, and I see this car bounce a car, but I don't want to get nothing and don't call my name. But did your man see it? You see that? And I know it's Kizzy bumped my car and she went and painted. And all she had to do is come and talk to me like a big woman.
All right. So
if you talk to me like a big woman, you could discuss that.
So Keith, couple of things now. So from where I am listening to you, you did not see Kizzy's car.
No.
The Tuesday after it left. All right. So you did not see her car. You did not. From what she has told us, is that she went to Tobago from the Monday, and she gave the car to her son from the Monday evening to take it to get it painted. That same period of time. So that would explain why it was painted. It was en route for a painting one time. Would you? Yes? So she's saying that it was going to be painted. Now, let's explore a little more. So she did not have access to the car at that time. So is it possible that somebody else might have been driving the car, or it could have been another car? Because you didn't see the car, you didn't see who bounced through the night, you didn't see the scrape on it, and you did not see the any damage on Kizzy's car.
I didn't see.
Tell me,
but that's
tell me,
color the paint.
Tell me why. What you're insisting that it is. Is there anything else you want to tell me why you know that it's you're saying that it's Kizzy that bounced your car? Tell me.
Because Kizzy in the area, like she feels she's a kind of prime minister or some kind of thing. So she the only person with that kind of car up there. And she can even drive. But anyway, we talk about that. She the only person with that kind of car. So when she's driving up that car, all her glass up. It's in dark. She not stopping people calling Miss Kizzy, but like she doesn't study nobody. Like she in her own world. And she driving up and she going to the big house up there. And she go, I don't know if it have anybody else living in that house. But like nobody like Kizzy, because Kizzy like she don't like nobody. Everything is her own. Like she the rich woman there. I don't know if she move from there and go and live in some area with her rich people. She live in a poor people area. And that's how she does be moving up there. I know it's Kizzy bumps my car, but she find that as a small man.
But Keith, all right. So what I'm hearing you saying here, and I could is that because of what you perceive as her attitude and the kind of car drive, that it's an attitude that because she does not interact with you all, that you is that the only reason you're basing that you sure it's her who would have
No,
bounce
the
jumper?
other one is that to go up in the street, most of the time you have to go up in reverse. And you will children that say that miss zigzag because she be racing left, right. So I teach you reverse into my car. That what I say, the side miss zigzag. And there's run from the road when she driving up. Because she had to turn and reverse. And she can't drive. Then how to be sure?
Well, so tell me from your perspective now. She indicated that she was not there until Monday. What do you have to say about that?
Well, if that is true, then it is son was driving and bounce my car. But that same car bounced my car. So she probably had to go and talk to her son.
Miss Cole, I could butt in. You know how my tickets, my airplane, my flight tickets, I have it right here. I make sure and walk with it because I was hearing him talking that I bounced his can. I wasn't home that day, you know. Look, I am. I'm a ticket. I came in Thursday night, late flight. Look all my tickets here. Look everything here.
Okay.
And if
So-
it's my son bouncy
Well,
card,
next thing
if
is a
my
son.
son bouncy card, I will talk to him and find out. I will find out from my son because I believe in fairness. I believe in fairness for everybody. If my son bunks your car, I will find out and he wouldn't lie to me. I didn't raise him up so.
Okay, just a minute. Okay, so we're making a little bit of progress here. So what I want to do now quickly is I want to speak with both of you all separately. Okay, so Kizzy, I want to speak with you first, probably just 5 minutes. So Keith, I'll ask you to just hold on outside a little while I speak with Kizzy. All right. So Kizzy, so you've heard what Keith had to say. You were there. Now, before I go any further, this level of me meeting you separately has a different level of confidentiality to it. So what we speak about here will be between both of us only. Okay, so feel free to tell me anything and I cannot take it back to the main session until you give me permission. Okay? So you've said that you were in Tobago with from the Monday night and you gave your son the car. Did you have a conversation with him since you were accused of
No,
Friday morning?
I didn't ask him anything about the car. He told me going and take it to paint. But since you know Keith's car bounce, I will find out from him.
Is it
right?
possible to call him now and find out?
Yes, I will call him now.
Call him now.
I'll give him a call. Hold on, and I'm gonna get my phone and give him a call. Hello, Shabaka. Shabaka. Tuesday night, when you was heading to your uncle home to drop the car, tell me something. You bounced the neighbor car by mistake? Don't joke. So why you didn't say something? Because you was going and paying the car? Or you want me trouble here? Look at that. Anyhow, I will deal with you when I come home. I gone. Come, thank you for allowing me to come out the room to make the call. Thank you very much. You know, I now call my son, and my son told me he really scraped Mr. Keith's car, but he didn't tell me nothing because he was taking it by his uncle, which is his godfather, to paint it. Well, look, trouble here. If I go and tell Mr. Keith that, he will eat what? Oh gosh, Miss Cole, you can tell him for me. You can tell him for me, please.
All right.
I'm feeling shame, boy. Oh gosh, I'm feeling shame.
All right.
Wait. Feeling real bad now.
All right. So this puts a whole different spin on the whole situation as it is right now. All
And
right. So,
I want you to tell him too, don't judge me because, God bless me with a piece of money and I like nice things. So I buy a nice car, just like how he love baby. Tell him stop saying them things about me now because it's he making the neighbors and them watch me different. Like if I'm better than everybody, you want me to move out since I'm small and know him. I respect him. I know him, you know. When I wasn't driving, he used to give me drop and thing. Now I start driving, he get vexed with me. So talk to him for me, please now.
so yeah, what, Kissy? So I'm glad we were able to get some clarification on that. But I would going to meet him now the same way I have had a one-on-one with you, and I will let him know this development. But um, how would you feel about telling him what you just told me for yourself? I think there might be some value in it coming from you.
I will try.
Okay,
I will try.
all right, great. So I would speak with him now. You just hang on in the room outside, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, and then we come back together. Keith,
Yeah?
Keith.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you for waiting. So before I go any further, I want to tell you that this meeting that we're having here, me and you now, there's a different level of confidentiality to it. So what we discuss here stays with us, except you give me permission to bring it back. Okay? So I have some more information from you, from Kissy. And I'm going to share it with you now because she asked me to share it with you. And this is so as she said, she was in Tobago on Monday night and she left the car with her son. So she called her son a little while ago, and it turns out that he actually did bounce your car on the Tuesday night, but it
I know
wasn't his.
the car and then go and
He had
paint it.
he had the car, but he probably got a little bit scared, and he was going to paint his car anyway, so he didn't mention it to his mother.
And look how baby out. Baby looking bad, baby looking bad. Look how baby looking. And my wife saying, Keith, look at baby. And I couldn't tell what baby. Look at how baby was looking. And she didn't
So,
say, I don't know she with baby that.
so she just found out. She just called him while we were there because her son didn't tell her anything. So she's
So she
just
didn't
found
know.
out.
Didn't
She
know.
didn't know. She had no idea. So there are a couple of things she wants to say to you because she's feeling a little embarrassed about the whole situation now.
Mm-hmm.
And she's when we come back together. So a couple of things she asked me to share with you, which I indicated her that I think might be there's some value in her saying it to you.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to approach that. But there's some other things I want to ask from you because even apart from the bounce of the damage to the car, there were some other issues. I don't know if you want to speak about it now because you're all neighbors about your attitude towards Kizzy. She living up in the big house, she driving this big car and all that kind of things like that. What was your relationship with her before? Did she always drive a BMW? Did she always say, what was your relationship with her as neighbors from a long time? What?
Well, for a long time, it was normal, everybody talking and every poor people in the area, everybody looking out for one another. But when time she just started going to school and she had no time for people, and next thing you know, she driving big car and she driving past everybody. And nobody don't like that in the village because she was one of us. And all of a sudden she driving past everybody and the glass right up, and everybody's small and too big. So she just changed and everybody just so, and
So
that's why people don't like.
there was a time. So there was a time when they all will like live like
Everybody.
teenagers. All right.
Everybody.
So the only other thing I wanna she wants to say a couple of things to you now, and I will probably have a couple of things to which I've jotted down, which she had asked me, but I think there'd be value in saying it. Now, with respect to your, one other thing before we go back, with respect to your, the way you had accused her, confronted her on the Friday morning with her, you know, accusing her of causing the damage in your car. What is your take on that now? How are you feeling about that now?
Well,
Do you have any,
well,
do you
maybe I
think it
should
could have
sound like
been
that.
done differently?
But for 3 days, right? For 3 days, baby in that condition. And for 3 days, she out of sight. And when she appear, her car paint over nice. I mean, how you gonna feel? You feel like
So
you're
now,
bound to there.
well, right. So now that we have this other explanation that it was her son and she didn't know anything about it, and I'm asking you, and it just for a moment to think about it going forward. If this thing was to happen again or a similar situation like that, now that you have more information about it, what are your thoughts? And do you think he was still justified in approaching her that way?
No, I don't think that I don't think I should approach him that same way. But it just come out.
Yeah,
Because
at the time.
everything add up, you know? Everything add up. The paint on the car missing, the car come back, paint, everything add up. But then sometimes, you know, although it look right, it could be wrong. So probably we could discuss that.
So is this something you'd be willing to share with her when we go back inside? Yeah?
Yeah. According
Is
to
this
according to what she say. Because if she come back with this kind of big shot woman thing.
but she's very contrite now and she's willing,
Okay.
she's a little bit embarrassed, so she really wants to put this behind her.
All right.
Okay. All right, so we bring her back in now and we continue.
Yeah.
Kizzy?
Hello, thank you.
Okay, so I've met with both parties. Kizzy, we spoke about something related to Keith, the additional information you've given to me that it was your son who was responsible for the scrape on the car, and you didn't know anything about it until a little while ago. What would you like to say to Keith now?
I would like to tell Keith, I will fix your baby. I want to fix back your baby. I will fix your baby. That's how you like your baby to be fixed. Yes. And I want to say sorry for, any misunderstanding. My son didn't tell me anything, Just now I went outside and I called him and I asked him, and because, he was taking it to get painted, right? Because he was going to get it painted, he said, well, you would have overlooked that. And I said, why didn't tell me something? Because, this we would not be here today. If he'd have told me something, I'd have come down and, and talk to you. But I didn't know. So I'm really sorry. I apologize. And, I was feeling a little hurt too how you approached me. Because, I know you a long time, Keith, when I was not driving, you was the man used to pick me up in your baby. You remember that time?
Yeah.
You remember that time when we went down to the
come down
Keith, you remember?
Yes.
Remember that time when we went down to the homework center and you picked me up in your baby?
That's right.
I was real happy.
Well, I always know a woman of integrity and class, I always know that,
Oh,
and I know
gosh.
know that this would have never happened.
Oh, gosh, Keith, I really appreciate that,
Yeah, always that kind of woman since a long time.
Yeah, we was real good.
Them children is something else, Them children get you in trouble and mash you up, Them
But I
children not
never
easy.
fight a battle
Them
on my
children,
own.
them children.
All my battles is with my son. I had to be fighting all my son battles because it ain't easy now, kid. I didn't know
Yeah,
that
boy,
if he could
children,
tell me
children.
something.
It take a village to raise a child, you know. A village, you know. A whole village to raise a child,
gosh.
you know. It's not
Yeah,
easy with
sure.
children. Children. Yeah, but
Wow.
yeah, well, my baby will fix and everything will be good.
Yeah. So I will fix that. I will take care by, you know,
Nice.
the person who fix up my car for me, I will carry your car to fix up. I will do it over your whole car. What color you want it? I know you like yellow.
Oh, boy. I'm going to talk to my wife because she going to tell me what color she wants to wear.
Yeah, any
Yes,
color
ma'am.
you want, you tell me and I will fix that
Yeah.
for you. Yeah,
Like you can
boy.
talk. I will talk to my
We
wife.
come from far,
Yes.
boy. We come from far. We
Too far,
come
too
from
far,
real far. I know you
too
long
far
time.
for that.
And I won't move out
Yeah.
again. I stayed in my community,
Nah.
yes? Or they
We're
know me
going.
better than anybody else,
You know,
yes?
you protest. You can't move. You have to stay right there. You can't move. You have to stay.
I like your smile, boy. You have a nice smile.
You
Nobody
know
ever
that.
tell you that.
You
Okay,
know
so
that.
the key
Why
and
always telling me that?
Hey, tell your wife hello for me. I'm a girl, though.
Yeah. And
Wow.
she was
Keith
glad,
and
she was
Kiki.
glad to know baby coming back. Nice
Yes,
as ever.
yes.
So
Oh
Keith
gosh,
and
I'm
Kitty.
real happy. Yes. Oh yeah. I don't know how to
Yeah.
stop smile. Oh gosh. Thanks for making me smile again. That Botox on my face.
Okay, so
Oh gosh. Keith, I'm
Keith and
real
Kitty.
happy. Whew.
I would,
Oh
I
gosh.
could
The
see
long
that.
I laugh, boy.
I can see that. I can see that, Kizzy, that I'm so happy for both of you that this matter has been resolved amicably. And as you can see, really a big misunderstanding there. So thank you all for choosing mediation. Thank you all for allowing the process of mediation to work for you. And we would talk about, a little further about the when and where and what time, because you've already committed to fixing the whole car, and we finalize all those details. Thank you.
Baby, baby.
Thank you. Okay, so Aaron and I thank you all very much for allowing us to do this presentation, this mediation demonstration.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
All right, so we want to thank you all for that demonstration of mediation and what it looks like. We really enjoyed that, and I know all the viewers have enjoyed that demonstration. That was Keith and Kizzy. Wow.
Special thanks to you. Yes.
Thanks to you all. Thanks to you all. Now we have a couple of questions here,
Yes.
and we want to go into them right away. And if you have any other questions, you can post it. Now is the time to post it. But before we go into the questions, I personally have a question for Ms. Cole and Mrs. Beverly. Now, my question is, how strong do you have to be a mediator, or is it even strength or proper training? Because the society nowadays grooming individuals to be gossipers and in bacchanal, and when you go on Facebook, you see people thing, and you just want to share your opinion and all these things. And even while I was watching this demonstration with Kizzy and Keith, I was here in my own little space shouting, Jerry, because it have that kind of effect. So is there any hope for me and for anyone out there who in that same light,
Okay, so I'm sure that we will have something to add, but you asked if you need to be strong to be a mediator. I don't think it's strength. I think you have to like people, to really have a desire to help people. Because as you can see, it takes patience, it takes listening, and beyond all of it, it really takes a desire to want to help people, because they're going to come at you with everything thrown in the barrel at you, and you really have to be patient because they're hurting. and you just have to be patient. So at the bottom of it, it's just if you're not a people's person and you don't like people and you don't have interest in helping people, perhaps this is not for you. But if you have that desire, then yes, with the proper training, you can be a very effective mediator.
I want to add to, I agree with everything that Christine has said, and I want to add that it's important to know yourself, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, know your pressure points, your hot buttons. So emotional intelligence is important. And it's critical for a mediator to be able to step back. And when I say step back, it's to understand it's not about you. It's about the people in front of you. It's not your issue. So you have to be able to step out of it and don't make the process about you. And that takes strength of character. So that is important. With the right training, you learn, but you also, as Christine said, you have to have the passion for wanting to help and understanding that you do not need to be the hero of the situation. And I think that's an important thing for a mediator. It's not about you.
Okay, thank you very much.
I could definitely, I wanted to applaud Miss Cole because, I mean, some of the dialects, some of the issues that they were having in their communication, it was truly something that, you know, it really takes self-control as well to, you know, not be invested and so into their feelings and allow it to consume you as well as the mediator. And with that, it could bring a healthier result for both of them. So
Can I just say something on that though? Yes, you are very observant, and that's really commendable. A mediator actually is very in tune with the feelings and emotions of the parties, but it's because you have such control of your own emotions and you are strong and convinced that this is not about you. You're able to manage, because critical to me, a mediator cannot ignore the emotions in the room, because it's through those emotions you get the breakthrough. It's because Ms. Cole recognized the emotional attachment of Keith to baby, and how important baby was to him, that she was able to get that breakthrough. So the mediator has to recognize the emotion, but manage the emotions on all fronts.
we have some more burning questions coming from the chat room. It's directed to Mrs. Emmanuel. You mentioned that documents and records of a mediation are shredded after the parties have come to a resolution. What if one party decides to dishonor the promise of the resolution? How would you deal with such a situation, since all data, all records of proof have been destroyed?
Well, mediation, as you would notice in our role play, the mediator took great pains to outline confidentiality. Mediation is really a safe space. It provides a safe space for honest, forthright discussions. But that does not make the mediator a lie detector to try to determine who's telling the truth or not telling the truth. That's not important to us. What is important is that you understand that this is a safe space for you to resolve your issues, and you must take advantage of it. So if you want to not be forthright, then it's up to you. The Mediation Act and the principles of mediation protect discussions in mediation. And therefore, it's not that everything is destroyed. What I indicate is that the final agreement is kept. This is what, after they have generated their solutions and their options and evaluated and selected those options that will form part of the agreement, that is written into an agreement and that is kept. The mediator's notes and the notes that the parties might have taken while the mediation was going on, those are shredded, because under the Act, a mediator, unless there is a direct threat, a credible threat to life, limb, or property, under court order, the court could demand that the mediator speaks. If there is direct threat to life, limb, or property, the mediator is also obligated to report it after informing the parties to the relevant authority. But all documents and comments and imagine if those things that Ms. Cole discussed in the caucus, in the private sessions with the parties, if she kept the notes and they were made available to other people, you know, it wouldn't be a good thing because mediation is built on trust. So it's important that those rough notes are destroyed if the mediation has to continue, because sometimes things are not resolved. If they had not resolved it today and they had to come back another day, those notes will be kept in sealed envelopes. But once an agreement is reached, they're shredded. Only the final agreement is kept. And if parties renege, then you come back and you discuss those issues in mediation, because something might have caused the party not to be able to keep what they agreed to. So then we discuss those issues at the table.
Another question, can young people become mediators?
Mm.
Hmm.
Mm.
Of course. Of course. Listen, mediation, and I would really like to hear Christine's take on this. Mediation, actually some of the best mediators you would find are children. So we have a peer mediation program because children don't have the baggage that some of us adults come with. And young people really are interested in the welfare of their peers. And in fact, if we are going to change things in our society, then that's where it has to be. So we have had children as young as 6 in mediation camps.
Okay. Well, that's lovely. Lovely. I feel as though an empowerment now, even though based on, you know, the great explanation, the great demonstration that we've seen before, I felt as though I'm nowhere close.
Yeah.
But as you say, you know, we could be and even younger. So is a good that's a good opportunity to be part of something like that. Someone else asked if the parties involved in the mediation aren't willing to follow protocols or even are impatient in the process, how do you deal with something like that?
And this was addressed to Ms. Cole.
Yes.
Okay, so if they're impatient in the process, and they which at the beginning of the process. All right, so what you would have observed, my style, of course, mediation, we train people and there's some basic training and everything, but each, as you would appreciate, everybody's an individual and they would bring their own style because mediation reflects who you are. The training helps you to follow certain guidelines of mediation, but you bring your own style to it. It's important at the beginning that you take time, for me, and I've seen it in a lot of the things I do, to set the tone for the mediation. This is a voluntary process and people need to buy into it. They are in conflict, so they do not trust the person that they're in conflict with. They're coming to you, most times a stranger. They don't trust you either. But they would trust you because you're neutral, but you have to build trust. Let them, allow them the space to trust you and to trust the process. So I take a lot of time explaining the process to them, what will happen, what we're going to do, and asking them for any queries. Because a lot of the time they might have, I wonder if this one, as Keith would say, I don't think Kizzy will keep confidentiality, you know. So I have to say, well, you know, she did say that she would, so give it a try. You know, she would do that. So again, you would have seen that he began to trust the process. So, okay, I don't feel it, but I would give it a try. You know, so you might think that some people might, the disputants might think it's lengthy, but it's worth it. To spend a little extra time to lay the groundwork and to lay how the process is going to flow. So when you start to build on it, it doesn't crumble. I don't have to come back all the time and say, well, you know, don't call this one this name and try to be parting fights all the time and putting out a fire here and putting out a fire there. They already know what they're getting into. Yes, there will be some cross talk. That's how we Trinidadians talk. We talk above one another. Some thought pops into our heads and it has to come out. But that's okay. That kind of interchange doesn't really bother me anymore because I know that's how Trinidadians are. But if it gets too much and I can, if I see it's bothering the other person, then I intervene. But it's worth it to be patient at the beginning.
Just a small. How long could these meetings go for? What's the longest?
A mediation session is generally scheduled for about 3 hours. However, as this was a very truncated one because I worked with Keith before and Kizzy, and we knew the time frame we had, and but even if we weren't going anywhere, you would have only seen a part of it, probably the beginning of it. But mediation would probably go for 3 hours, 4, 5, maybe 6 hours, but it can take a long time too because you would have sometimes you forget you're reaching the end and they put in something else that you have to deal with and then you're reaching there. I mean, I would have that whole issue with Keith and the little bit of jealousy going back and that was something if in a real session I would have explored. Let's go back a little bit on that because that would have been for me worth exploring a little bit and it might have come up again. Kizzy wanted to talk about it too, so that would have been a whole, pulling that apart and getting to the bottom of it. So your answer is between 3 to 6 hours.
Okay, so we'll take one more question because we're looking to wrap up, right? So this last question, the person says, I see that the perceptions of one another play a big role in conflict. Can you take a little time to speak about the role that perceptions play in conflict and conflict resolution?
Anyone?
Everybody, you want to take that?
Sorry, I was about to say the same thing to you, Christine. Okay, yeah, perceptions. Remember, we all come from different backgrounds. We've had different life experiences. And mediation is a communication tool. And the beauty about mediation is that you are provided with a space, and a good mediator, as you saw a good demonstration, helps to break down those perceptions by the questions so that there becomes there's a commonality of understanding of the situation because we have different beliefs, expectations, aspirations, concerns, and hopes and dreams. And sometimes they don't come together. But in mediation, the critical thing is to help each other, help the parties to see each other's perspective and to understand the issue from the different perspective because we're all different.
Yeah, like that.
Wrap up, I want to especially thank Keith and Kizzy and Miss Cole for such a wonderful demonstration. I mean, a lot of us, even on the YouTube channel, truly enjoyed it. I saw some people getting into it as well. And really, really like to thank all of you all for putting on such a wonderful demonstration for us. As we move along, we just take the time to thank all the viewers for staying so long. I don't know if anybody realized, but this was so enjoyable and so well thought out that, and so interesting to everyone that we actually we almost hit in 2 hours, which is good. So that means that, a lot of people are interested and enjoying the program thus far. And we thank you for being with us and staying so long after the time. Also, we like to thank our presenters as well for even staying as long as they did and sharing all that they did because it was truly impactful. It actually encouraged me to think about, being a part of a mediation team and, asking more questions about it. So I'm appreciative of this initiative. So
yeah, so thank you to Keith and Kizzy. They are part, if we didn't know, they are part of the mediation team as well, correct?
Mm-hmm.
We wanna thank them as well. And before we wrap up, we would just remind you all that if you all have any questions and concerns, you can email them to the Cookreet Assembly Adventist Church email address, which is cookreetsda51@gmail.com. Also, you can contact us at it's 270-2251, I believe, right? So we want to thank you again, and youths, as Mrs. Cole said and Miss Beverly said, you can be a mediator. So if you do a self-evaluation and you see in your young age that you are somebody that always like to keep the peace and always like to resolve conflict, then you should invest in your gift, and hopefully in the future you can become a mediator, right? So thank you everyone and good night. See you all soon. And our next forum is on the 20th of June and we have a very interesting topic on that night.
Yes, stay
So
tuned.
stay
We will
tuned.
be looking out on our social media. You could check our Facebook page, Cookreets SDA. Also, you could stay in tune with us on YouTube and also on Zoom. And we look forward to seeing you all in the next 3 weeks.
All right, so take care and see you all. Good night. Bye.
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 See you there.
Thank you all. Excellent program. Excellent, excellent. Well done, well executed. We look professional. Remember, we have our production meeting. Let know when. Blessings.
All right, blessings. Good night. Wonderful.
Great job, guys. Great job, guys. Well done, Zani and Aaron, and to the team that did all the behind the scenes work as well. Well done, guys. Our YouTube page now has 16 subscribers. So as we continue to share the YouTube page, we'll get more followers there.
Yes, yes, people. Well done, well done. God bless and be upon you all.
Thank you. Same to you. Everybody have a good night.
Night, night.